Thanks for joining us today on T County Classics here on Time Warner Cable DMG TV2. This portion of our broadcast brought to you by the letter T, Model T. I'm here with Tom Strickling and his Model Ts. They're fabulous. Tell us about them.
Well, Laurel, this is a 1911 Ford Model T. It's fully restored, not by me. Somebody else did all the hard work. It's a roadster because it's a two-seater and it's a convertible. The interesting thing about it is its model name is a Torpedo. Ford decided to get into the sports car market, and they called their car a Torpedo. And kind of an interesting fact is 3 or 4 other companies that year also had a Torpedo. So it wasn't today like with branding and trademarks and all that. Everybody made a Torpedo in 1911. So it is a pretty rare car. It's probably the most desirable Model T. Every Model T guy wants a Torpedo, and I was lucky enough to buy this in 2010.
Beautiful. And you were explaining to me there are some unusual features even for this era model of car.
Yes, it differs from other Model Ts in that it has different parts that other Model Ts don't have. It had to have a longer hood and a longer steering column because they moved the seat back and lower for that sporty feel. Your legs are actually extended when you drive it, whereas other Model Ts, your hip and your knee are basically at a 90-degree angle, pretty tight while you're driving the car. This one you can stretch out and relax. The gas tank is exposed. It's on the back deck of the car instead of under the seat like other Model Ts.
Now, there are a lot of things actually that we take for granted with our modern day cars, one of them being electricity. How do your lights and your starter, all those things, how do they work, and how did they do that before before we added electricity to the cars?
Well, in 1911, you could use dry cell batteries, but they were pretty maintenance intensive. This car actually has an internal magneto. It generates its own electricity for the spark. Later on, people said, hey, there's electricity, let's do more things with it. So they came up with accessory headlights that you could have electric headlights. And later on in time, then electric horns, and Ford took the hint and started making more electric cars, and finally went to cars with generators for a separate source of electricity besides the magneto. But you can actually start this car without a battery because the magneto will make enough electricity for you.
All right, and the brass, the lovely brass item that's a little in way of the driver's side door that you said isn't even on most Model Ts. Explain some of that to us.
So, Laurel, this is a carbide generator. You put calcium carbide in the bottom of it. You put water in the top. As the water drips on the carbide, it makes acetylene gas. The gas goes through a rubber tube up to the front headlights. You have to open a little door on the front headlight and actually light a match and light the gas headlight. They did back in the day make a little sparker, much like a cigarette lighter has on it, accessory sparker. But if you didn't have one of those, you had to have matches with you if you were going to drive at night. They also made, back in the day, a tank called a Presto-Lite tank, which was ready-made acetylene for you. You didn't have to fool around with the mixture of carbide and water. And it was a tank that would go on the running board. And when it was empty, you exchanged it, just like we do propane for our grill today. You could exchange your Presto-Lite tank for more acetylene.
And you thought you had to do a lot with your car, your modern day car, to get it going. Now, you also have another Model T. Tell us a little bit about that one.
It's an 18 touring car, and a touring car means it has 2 seats. You can carry more passengers, and it's still a convertible. Touring was a hobby when automobiles were new. You didn't buy a car because you needed it. You bought a car because you were very wealthy and didn't have anything else to do with your money, and you would get in the car and drive around. Later, Henry Ford, he kind of despised that, and he wanted a car for every man. He wanted the people that worked in his factory to be able to afford the very thing that they were building. So
that's a nice idea. I like that idea.
It is a nice idea. It is a nice idea. This car was about $765 fully equipped, and fully equipped means it had a windshield, it had headlights, and a speedometer. So those were all extras if you didn't want a fully equipped, and a top also. So if you didn't get it fully equipped, it was about $80 cheaper, but you didn't have a roof, you didn't have a windshield, and you didn't have headlights. But you did save $80. So
How did you become interested in cars in general or the Model T? How did that all come about into your life?
I can remember when I was a little kid, anytime an old car went by, I would go run out, look at it, watch it go by. Or there was a old guy in my town who drove a 1930s car. And even when I was a little kid, I thought that was pretty neat that he drove that old car around and kept it going. I don't know, when we first got married, I would talk to my wife about an old car, and I finally decided I wanted a heavy-duty, one-ton Model AA truck. And she said, well, they're not very pretty, but if that's what you want and that'll keep you quiet, go buy one. So
She's a good wife.
about 3 weeks later, we ended up at a backyard auction in Strasburg, and I bought the 18 touring car there, and that's all I have now is Model Ts, and never did get that Model A truck, but that's okay. You can only drive one at a time anyway. So.
That's true. And after a while, you may run out of garage room anyway.
Yep, and that's happened. That's happened to lots of guys.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us today. Beautiful Model Ts, and I'm glad that we could share them with you today here on T County Classics on DMG TV2.
I was in elementary school when you decide, oh, I want to be a teacher when I grow up.
When I came in as a junior, my very first day, I was a very quiet, shy girl.
I wasn't sure where I wanted to be or what I was going to do. And I wanted to learn a trade that I could make maximum money and something that I was in control of my own destiny. When I saw the masonry program, I really fell in love with it. Something that was outside, hands-on. It was hard work. It really fit my style.
Instead of learning from a textbook, you get the opportunity to actually learn on the job, hands-on, which is great.
It's not just someone behind the desk, but it's someone that actually goes out and does the work. They actually turn the wrenches, or they actually go out and they work in construction. And it opens the doors up for the student to allow them some real-world experiences they might not have if they didn't take that class.
What was great with our class is that, there were 18 of us. We all had different backgrounds, came from different environments.
We were a team. We all worked independently. However, we worked with each other.
And we all just kind of were encouragement to each other and gave each other ideas and became a family in our lab.
It really helped me to open up as a person and really gave me the confidence I needed to be successful in my career today.
I was an athlete at the homeschool. We were still involved with our homeschool activities, our pep rallies, and all the activities that take place at the homeschool. We were not shut out or alienated.
You have the opportunity, here at Buckeye, you get involved with a club, you learn some leadership skills, and really share that leadership out in the community.
And you never know in which way you're going to use it and how it'll open up doors for you.
A lot of people were saying, oh, if you go to Buckeye, you can't go to college. Well, I'm sitting here in front of you working on my master's degree. So that's not true.
Use the skills you're learning as your work ethic. There's absolutely no limits.
Jack Billow from Blosenauer Plumbing and Heating. We're in Mineral City, Ohio. In our continuing series of heating and cooling tips, we're talking about air conditioning, cooling in the summer. Today we want to answer the question of what size air conditioner should I have? Well, we've talked before about a heat loss or heat load calculation. Once that calculation is determined, we come up with a BTU size. And say we figured your heat load was 24,000 BTUs. That's the size of cooling unit we would look for. And not any bigger than that. We don't want the unit to run too much, or we want it to run long enough to take humidity out. That's why we don't oversize air conditioners. So we would match a unit to that figure to have the proper air conditioning for your house.
I'm I'm here every day to review patient care and progress notes and also discuss with the therapist, even after hours, what our goals are for the following day.
Our patients are able to stay within the community, be close to their family and friends, which is a big part of the rehab process.
What you get to see then is the actual progress taking place in a smaller time frame, so it's very visible and very real. It's not just something in the future, you're actually seeing it while it's happening.
Union Hospital, quality care close to home.
Thanks for joining us today on T County Classics here on Time Warner Cable DMG TV2. I'm here with Charles Baker. Charles, we love this beautiful car of yours that we keep seeing out at the car shows. Tell us about it.
It's a 56. I had a couple of them when I was in high school. And my daughter and son-in-law was here about a year ago. And they were both on computers, on telephones. And I said, see if you can find me a 56 Ford on there to my daughter-in-law. And she pulled this up. She said, it's in Massillon, Ohio. And so I took the information for phone number and stuff. And I called the guy the next day that had it. And he said that he's got it in his showroom. And I went and looked at it, and green, you know.
You weren't a fan of the green at first, huh?
And at first, but the more I'm around it, the more better I like it. And so I ended up buying it. I put the wheels on it and re-chromed the bumpers and a couple other things like that. I put disc brakes on it last winter, and it stops a whole lot better than it did.
That's important.
Uh,
So you've only had it for a year or two then? It's a fairly new addition to the family?
year and a half.
Were you into classic cars before that, or is this a newer interest?
This is the only one I've ever had. Well, I've had a couple other ones, but I never had any money to go ahead and do one.
A lot of us out there can sympathize with that. It's on our wish list.
And so I went ahead and bought it, and like I say, I had a couple $1,000 in tires and wheels, and re-chromed the bumpers, and did several other things to it. It's got a 302 in it instead of the original engine.
Well, it is very beautiful. I know I've seen you driving around town before, and I've thought to myself, that is a man I need to talk to for the show. But of course, I didn't know who you were or where to find you. But luckily, you attend some of the car shows, so I was able to catch up with you there. Do you go to a lot of the local car shows?
Yeah, most of them. Dover's got 2 of them, and I went to one here in Dover, and then I went to another one up at Dover Ballparks at the end of summer celebration, and I was up there.
So do you think this will be first of a few cars, or is this your baby? You're sticking with this one?
This is the one I'm going to stick with.
She's a keeper.
It's a keeper. And I went to Randolph, Ohio, which is it's at a fairgrounds, and not knowing much, that's a place where you go to sell your cars. And I mean, there's some pretty sharp cars there, and a lot of people come up to you and say, why aren't you selling yours? And I said, I'm not going to sell it, you know. And these people that was actually mad that I wasn't offering it for sale. And
That must feel good. It's a compliment.
it's a compliment. It really surprised me, you know. And
Well, you obviously have very good taste in vehicles.
well, like I say, 56 Ford is to me, it's just as pretty as any Chevrolet on the road, you know.
It is absolutely beautiful. Well, we hope to see you at more car shows coming up in the future. It was very good to meet you. Charles Baker joining us with his 56 Ford Fairlane here on T-County Classics on Time Warner Cable, DMG TV2.
Well, I woke up to the sound of silence and cars were cutting like knives in a fist fight. And I found you with a tear in your eye, your head in the curtains and heart like the 4th of July.
You swore and said, we are not shining stars. This I know, I never said we are. If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your past be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on. Carry on, carry on. We are shining stars. Carry on, carry on. We are who we are.
Myers & Miller Podiatry provides complete foot and ankle care to patients of all ages. The practice was established in 2000 by Dr. Adam Myers and has grown to include Dr. Andy Miller in 2007 and most recently Dr. Jason Backage in 2010. Our core values of respect and honesty are the basis for how we manage our practice, and we have grown by building relationships with our patients in order to better serve their needs. Myers & Miller Podiatry serves Tuscarawas and Holmes County with offices in Dover, Sugar Creek, New Comerstown, and Millersburg. Let's get started building our relationship.
WJER and TV2 would like to introduce you to a new website, WJERTV2.com, where you can watch exciting high school football, soccer, and volleyball replays from TV2 Sports on your home computer, smartphone, or tablet. Also watch the latest episodes of TV2's original programming, Sports Talk, The Garden Girl, The Not So Shy Chef, Off the Record, and Medical Minutes, as well as catch up on local community news and search for local businesses. So make sure to check out the new WJERTV2.com community website where everything's local.
Welcome back to T-County Classics here on Time Warner Cable's DMG TV2. I'm your host, Laurel Quillen. Joining me today is a man that you probably already know, Sam Hitchcock. Hi there.
Hi, Laurel. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us over here today. You may or may not have already met his Mustang behind us. Tell us about your Mustang, Sam.
Well, the Mustang is a car that I've had quite some time. I'm the 5th owner of it. It has always been an Ohio car. It was first titled, I think, in 1965, late 1965, in Columbus, Ohio. And when I picked it up, it's been quite a few years ago that I got it. It had been restored, but it was kind of a bad restoration. It was done, a lot of it was done with pop rivets, and to the point where I just tore the car completely apart and right down to the frame. Had the frame sandblasted, had the frame repair done, anything that needed done, and then put it back together and threw a coat of paint on it.
Wow. Now, you did all that work yourself? Did you have some friends help out?
The late Dean Gosser is the one, was a good friend of mine. He was a Mustang guy, and he allowed me to use his garage down in the Schönbrunn area. And he did the frame repair. We got pieces of frame are available through the different Mustang houses. And then some of the stuff he just kind of built himself. He's very talented along those lines. He restored the frame, about $2,500 worth of frame work. One of the things he told me that was unusual about a convertible this old, he says usually when they get that old, they start to sag. And he said this one hadn't done that yet, so we put new rocker panels on and welded them in, new floor pans. And then after he did all the technical work with the welding and everything like that, then I assembled the car again. I had a friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Fuller, who was a mechanic. He completely rebuilt the engine, painted it Ford blue and everything to be like it was when it was stock, and then put the engine back in, and then I basically did the catch-up work of putting it back together and then driving it down the road.
Well, someone has to do that. Fantastic. Was it always red?
No, it wasn't red. It was kind of a goofy color green, which I hated, and it was it was blue when I got it, but through the VIN number you can tell what the original colors was. The original color was a color that I didn't care for, a kind of an off green, and the original interior was black, which is hot driving a convertible in the summertime. Yes. So I figured, I don't care about the originality as much as I do the fun of just driving it. So I made it the color I wanted, and I put the interior the color I wanted.
Fantastic. So when did your love of cars begin?
Oh, geez. Probably as soon as I became car buying age, or car driving age, I guess, at 16.
Does it run in the family?
Well, my father was a businessman. He wasn't really much into classic cars, and me being the only son, I think I probably started as a personal interest.
But I know you've handed down this interest to your children in your own way.
Yes, my oldest son and daughter started their driving with 65 and 66 classic Mustangs, and my original brand new car that I bought when I worked at the Ford Garage in 1964 was a brand new 1965 Mustang convertible. It was black with black pony interior and 4-speed and a 289 V8. My brother-in-law, I drove it to put about 44,000 miles on it, sold it to my brother-in-law. He drove it for a little while and then put it in a garage, and it had been garaged in Columbus probably since the mid-70s. My son just purchased that car from him and brought it home, and he is restoring it with my assistance. He brought the 4-barrel over and cleaned it up and everything like that, and asked me to put the kit in it. So I told him, I said, I can still do that in my sleep. So that's going to happen.
That works out well. Always a good father-son project. Now, of course, when people see Sam, we always want to talk about First Town Days Festival, Tuscarora Park, the Teen Center, the RTY Summer Showcase. So we thank you for all your work for the First Town Days Festival that everyone enjoys this summer. And if people want to know what's coming up for the RTY Summer Showcase at Tuscarora Park, what's the best way to find that out?
Well, there's a lot of different ways, Laurel, but the best way probably for those who are tech-minded, and I think almost everybody is now, just jump on the internet and log on to the website, rtysummershowcase.com. That will take you to the home page. The home page has several links over to the left side. One of them is a calendar link. You click on that, and it gives the entire schedule of the shows, which began the Memorial Day weekend and will continue through the Labor Day weekend. There is also a show status at the bottom of the home page, which will tell the status if there's any inclement weather. Of course, most everyone knows it never rains in Tuscarora Park, so we don't really worry too much about that. But just in case somebody gets a little spooked because of the weather forecast, they can look at that show status, and it'll tell if the show's canceled, rescheduled, moved to the gymnasium, as the Greco band performances would be if they're canceled because of weather, and just about any information we think would be good for the public. Plus we have booklets that are on sale at the concerts. Those give not only the schedule, but it gives a complete description of what each act is. It's supported by advertising, sponsorship, patron listings, the people, very important to us, who make these shows possible. And then there's different things throughout the park and throughout the community where the schedules are listed.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your very busy day, Mr. Sam Hitchcock. We appreciate it. No, and thank you for joining us today on T-County Classics here on Time Warner Cable's DMG TV2.
Omni Orthopedics comprehensive programs provide early diagnosis and successful treatment for every musculoskeletal problem. With more than 30 years of orthopedic experience, their physicians offer patient-centered treatment for all ages. From evaluation to rehabilitation, your treatment plan is designed around your needs. Omni Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, the spine, physical medicine and rehabilitation, foot and ankle, and hand surgery. If pain makes activities like climbing stairs, standing or walking a challenge, turn to the home team at Omni Orthopedics. Their mission is to provide you with the highest quality and most advanced orthopedic services so you can get back in the game. Located in the Oxford Medical Arts Building, Omni offers a full-service facility including digital x-ray and physical therapy. So there's no need to travel when quality care is so close to home. Omni Orthopedics, setting the standard in orthopedic care.
Brilliantly practical scientist Harriet Tuttle's search for a more efficient life concluded with an unorthodox solution. Harriet created 4 more Harriets. Together they were a model of efficiency. However, while identical, they had their own interests and their own retirement plans, each customized with a Raymond James financial advisor, allowing them to enjoy life separately and together. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Hi, thanks for joining us today on T-County Classics. I'm your host, Laurel Quillen, and joining me today is Beth Blickensderfer. Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for sharing your Volkswagen with us today.
Absolutely welcome. I love it.
Tell us about it. What year is it?
It's a 1978 bus. It's an automatic, which I think really is kind of unheard of from what I understand. I can't tell you how many miles are on it. I think it's definitely a rebuilt motor, but when I bought it, it said it had 136,000 miles, so I'm not sure about that.
When did you get it? You haven't had it since 78, have you?
No, I wish I did. I actually bought it, I was thinking about this the other day, either 7 or 8 summers ago. I was 2 days before my birthday, and it was sitting up in Strasburg at L Camps. And I was with my sister, and I'm like, we need to pull over. There's a bus. There's a bus that I have never seen in town, and I've got to go look at it.
Well, it must have been in a garage somewhere and taken good care of. It's in good shape. Or did you do all that magic?
No. Actually, it was everything, the paint job, the flowers, everything was already redone on it. And so when I bought it, the only thing I really added to it was I had the wheels powder coated. I put new tires on it. And of course, since it was 35 years old at the time, I had to do a little bit of electrical work underneath. That happened when I broke down at Kelly's Island for the very first time. So yeah, that's really mechanically I did more electrical to it than I did body.
Now, did you do the work yourself? Do you have special friends that help you in that department?
Yeah, I have, my brother and I own a machine shop, so we know a lot of people that, with the powder coating especially. But electrical, I had a hippie that lives in Dover that worked on it for me, because he actually has worked on all my Volkswagens that I've had all my life, and he worked on ones that my father had. So I knew who he was, and so he did most of the work for me.
It's always good to have friends helping out in that department. Did you repaint it since you've had it? Any other major things?
Nope, I haven't repainted it yet. It's again, since it is, 38 years old, 33 years old. It's gonna need some body work. But no, I put the roof rack on it, and then did a little bit of interior stuff and put a little stool in there because the middle seat's gone. Just for the kids to hang out in and just to ride around in.
If only the bus could talk, I'm sure it would tell about some fantastic adventures it's seen in its life. Now, you mentioned you've had other Volkswagens. Is that what drew you to the bus, or did you always kind of think, one day a van might be fun?
Well, yeah. My dad had Volkswagens. We had Beetles, and then my very first car was a 72 orange hardtop, and I loved them ever since. And I didn't see buses. I kind of grew up in the 60s and 70s, but I didn't see them. So I've always had a Volkswagen. I actually just sold, I had a 72 convertible that I just sold last summer to friends of mine that are in Dover. They'll be driving around. But so I was really looking for a bus that I didn't have to redo, and I think it was meant to be. Yeah, I just saw it and it was mine.
That's fabulous. What a great story. Someday when you pass the bus on to your children or your relatives or a friend, you can pass along those stories with them.
I think they're going to bury me in it because I don't want to give it away to anybody. Put my ashes in it because I mean, I hope generations enjoy it as much as I do eventually, but right now it's mine.
Very good. And there's a special ornament edition maybe coming soon. You mentioned a surfboard maybe?
Yes, I'm hoping. I've been searching for a surfboard and just came upon one. So if I can get my brother to get off his butt and help me, we'll put one on.
Hint, hint, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Beth Blickensderfer, thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you, Laurel.
I know I've really enjoyed this. Hopefully you did too. Join us next time on T County Classics. If you're looking for us on the internet, you can catch these shows later on the web at WJERTV2.com and follow us on Facebook at T County Classics.
Hi, I'm 1450 WJER's Bill Morgan, inviting you to join me on television Wednesday evenings at 7 and Friday afternoons at 5 for TV2 Sports Talk. Sports Talk is your weekly look inside high school football, volleyball, soccer, and more. Look for guest appearances from your favorite area coaches and players. TV2 Sports Talk, Wednesday evenings at 7 and Friday afternoons at 5 on DMG Channel 2 on Time Warner Cable.
Government officials, business leaders, volunteers, and much more. You'll hear it all here on TV2 Profiles, exclusively on TV2. Hi, I'm your host, Cheyenne Carroll, and join me as I interview the Tuscarawas Valley's leading women. You can visit WJERTV2.com for show episodes and details.